have now helped several different people purchase a home with zero money down, literally zero, and I want to show you how to do it. I have a conversation with a client and they say, I want to buy a house and I have no down payment. I have no cash for closing costs. I have literally my savings that I need to reserve for my house fund or my emergency fund. Now, somebody who has zero cash in the bank is different. That's a concern. Don't buy a house if you have no cash in the bank. But if you only have enough cash in the bank that you need to keep that for your emergency fund, this is for you. When you are looking at purchasing a house and you want to do that without any cash down, there's a couple first things. First, partner with somebody who actually knows how to do this. I'm a realtor in Washington State. I work in Pierce and King County, and you can find tons of resources about me and getting on my calendar below. But if you're not in the area, partner with somebody who does, or I might be able to connect you with somebody. Number two, partner with a lender who knows how to do this. Again, there are lenders who do this on a great, amazing scale, and then there's lenders who don't really know how to do this and kind of putz around, and they're gonna end up costing you money at the end of the day, and you won't actually get through the process. That team right there, and I do this because it's a partnership, that team's got to be working for you at a really high level to make this happen. So that's the first step, okay? You've got your team put together. You're going to chit chat about what you're wanting in the house, all that good stuff, okay? You're also going to secure yourself a down payment assistance loan. That loan can be conventional or FHA, or maybe you have a VA loan. That's another one, right? Although not everybody qualifies for a VA loan, but you'll want to secure a loan that is a 0% down payment program. Understand here, this is not necessarily free money. Most of these loans have a balloon payment at the end, or there is something tacked onto the loan to like a VA loan, right? Where it's tacked onto the loan for your origination fees, but it's not an upfront down payment. So make sure you understand the nitty gritty of that before going through this process. But you've got yourself now a 0% down loan and you're ready to start your search. Now we're going out, we're looking at homes. We cannot go look at homes that have been on the market for one day. So that's the key thing, right? I have clients that I work with that they're excited about this. We have, no cash down, so we've got to do this correctly. But they're ready to find themselves a home. And when new homes come on the market, we can't just rush out and see them. The reason why is because that home that's so fresh on the market is still getting visibility by a lot of different buyers and has a very high likelihood of getting an offer by somebody who does not need to ask the seller back for all of those costs. If the dream home comes up and it's one day on market, can we see it? Absolutely. We should go do that. As a majority, we want to be looking at the homes that are 7 to 14 plus days on market, which means it's already done that first weekend. Now we're moving into the second or third or more weekends that it's on the market. These are the houses that we know sellers are motivated because this seller now, whether it's vacant or otherwise, are sitting there going, when am I going to get an offer? And the offers look a lot more enticing to them, right? So we're going to target homes that have been on the market a little bit longer, and those are the homes we're going to go show. And we're going to go see them together. We're going to talk about them. Now, when we find a house that you love, we're going to talk about negotiation in terms of if the purchase price makes sense or if we should offer lower. But when we're doing this, we also have the ability to ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. If you've gone through the loan process before, you know that you have a down payment and you have closing costs. These are title, escrow, prepaid taxes. Those are your closing costs, okay? Those costs right there, we can actually ask the seller to pay for. Yeah. So we're going to ask the seller to pay for those costs. Now, it does not necessarily look great for the seller. That's cash that they're getting less than the purchase price. But when we do that and you already have that down payment assistance program, now you're going to walk out the door with no cash being brought to the table. So when I say no cash brought to the table, I mean at the end of the process, okay? So it is important to know that during this process, you will have cash that you're going to need to bring temporarily to the table, all right? So you've got the house agreed to with the seller. The seller has agreed to pay for the purchase price that you want. They've agreed to pay for the closing costs that you need. And now on paper, you're walking out with $0. But between then and closing, these are the costs that you've got to keep in mind. The first thing is earnest money. You will have earnest money regardless of the home that you choose. And earnest money in our market's typically 1%. I have worked with clients before where we've gotten away with only a couple $100s down. But if you are more likely purchasing like a $500,000 or $600,000 house, which is kind of the entry-level house in our market, if you are purchasing that house, expect that you will need to bring to the table $4,000 to $5,000. Scary, right? Don't worry, this money is going to stay safe as long as we are within all of our contingencies. So what I mean by that is that money is going to come out of your account. It will get cashed, so you've got to have it, right? And that's part of maybe that safety net you have. That cash is coming out of your account. It's going to be deposited and held safely with escrow. Through this whole process, we're going to go through the inspection. The inspection's horrible, you're going to get that money back. We're going to go through the appraisal. If the appraisal's horrible, you get that money back. The only time you lose that potentially earnest money is when we get to the end of the process and you go, nah, I changed my mind. If you completely change your mind, you're going to lose your earnest money, okay? So don't do that. Make sure that we stay protected, or you change your mind early on so we can get you out if you need to. But when you have that earnest money secured with escrow, it's going to stay there the whole 30-ish days that we're in escrow. And then at the end, when you see your balance, it's going to come back to you. The other things to keep in mind is inspection. Inspection is going to be a couple $100. However, you can choose to do the inspection yourself. So it's up to you. That would be maybe one cost I could caveat in saying that, sure, it's going to cost you $400 to buy this house because of the inspection, right? But it is optional. Up to you if you want to do it or not. I would advise it, but your choice. So that's about $400. Then you're going to also have an appraisal. Now, an appraisal is also going to be a cost out of pocket. It changes. It can range between $500 and $1,200. Most often I see that in that $800 range. That will be something you have to pay up front. However, as part of your closing costs that you've asked the seller to pay for, they're going to pay you back effectively on that balance sheet at the end, where up front you're going to pay it and on the back end you're going to get it back. So what this ends up looking like is you put your earnest money in, you put your appraisal money in, and at the end you get a check back for all of those items. This is such an amazing thing that you can do as a first-time home buyer or as a third-time home buyer. It doesn't matter how many times you've purchased a home. You can do this and you don't have to be VA. There are income requirements and credit score requirements, which are all quite easy to match. And it's an amazing thing to do. That is how you purchase a home with no money down, caveat the inspection, and you're able to do that in the market we're currently in because sellers are motivated. So if you're in Washington State, specifically Pierce and King County, reach out to me. Go get some free downloads. I have them all listed below. Or get on my calendar and let's schedule some time to chat about how we're going to make this happen for you this next year. Hope you have a wonderful day and we'll talk later.